right, hello everyone. My name is Valerie Morales, and I'm here to share this week's youth devotional with you. And today we are talking about a very important subject, family. Now we're going to look at what the Bible says about family, but when we discuss family today, we're talking about the people that God placed in your household to raise you. So this can look different, and that's what we're going to see today. This could be guardians, it could be your bio parents, it could be step parents, adoptive, but these are the people who God placed around you to raise you and support you and love you and protect you. And that includes siblings as well. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about a family. And this family is a bit of a blended family. So there are actually a total of 12 sons, a sister, one dad, and 4 moms. With that being said, there's lots of different kinds of families, but that doesn't mean that families don't come with their own tension. So there was some tension in this blended family. That last son that was born, that 12th son, he was the baby, and he was really, really special to his dad. And actually, the dad loved him more than the other brothers. And as he grew up, this became very, very apparent. And his dad even, verbally said it and highlighted it to the others. That already added tension. But on top of that, that boy also started to feel very, very special himself and kind of showed it off to his brothers a little bit. And his words, the way that he shared how important he was, didn't take into account his brother's worth as well, and how they're important as well, and how his life and his circumstances affect his family. So his brothers started to really, really hate him, and they actually wished he was dead, and they even sent him away. So you may have guessed what story I'm talking about already, but we're talking about the story of Joseph from the Bible. So the Bible in Genesis chapter 37 gives us the story of Joseph. So we're looking at the verses of 6 through 8 today. I'd recommend you read this story yourself. Think about your own role in your own family and how your role has an effect on your family and how there's purpose in where God placed you. Joseph had a purpose, and Joseph's family and his brothers had a purpose. Joseph actually had a really, really big calling. He was used by God to feed nations and help people survive and other families survive. God used his hands to administer food to people who would have otherwise starved. So he had a great calling on his life. But the thing about Joseph is that he got separated from his family. He took a really, really hard and long journey to get where he needed to be to fulfill that calling. And Joseph was actually placed in a family unit that was very, very strong, a very large family that could have helped him with his calling, that could have helped him, that could have supported him. So that's one family we're looking at today, but I also want to take into account some other families in the Bible that God uses and gives us great example of how we're placed in our families with divine purpose. So God has a plan for you and your family, and you're there for a reason. And there's some families that God uses in a great way who reflect when they're working with their parents, when they're working with their siblings, they reflect that servant attitude that Jesus came with. So in Philippians 2, 3 through 8, it says, Jesus took the very nature of a servant and humbled himself. So this is someone who was of divine nature, and he took the humbled form of a human, and he took the humble form of a servant and served those around him. So he set an example for us. And there are other families that do the same thing for us. So when we look at the story of Moses, somebody who had a great calling from birth to lead the nation of Israel out of slavery, he did it with the support of his family. From birth, when his mom placed him in the river, his sister Miriam intervened courageously and reunited him back with his family so he could learn about his own God, about his own culture, and then go back to the nation of Egypt to be raised and basically be a bridge between those two worlds to lead the Israelites out of captivity. But when he led them out, he had the support of Miriam. We learn in Exodus that she actually leads the whole nation in praise and worship to God. And then throughout his entire ministry, his brother Aaron is helping him and supporting him, going with him to seek God, going with him to address the congregation. He's a big part of his ministry, and he is a huge support to him for a very, very large job. and a very large calling that Moses had. So they were intertwined. So there was purpose, there was destiny to the family that he was placed with and to his support system. Miriam was important, Aaron was important, their parents were important. God thinks about all of that when he places you where you're at. And then going back to the story of Jesus, when you look at his brothers, so that's a bit of an adoptive family too, if you think about Jesus and his brothers being his half-brother, being the sons of Joseph, but they supported him in his ministry. They helped him. They were a part of his discipleship and the 12 apostles, and they honored him in that and helped him when he was ministering to large crowds, thousands, passing out bread, passing out fish, healing everybody who needed healed, absolutely everybody. They were there with him and helping him through all of that. These were some very successful and blessed ministries because they utilized the support and the love of those around them, of the people that God placed them with. Then we go back to the story of Joseph, and he was given a very, very large job to do. And his journey could have been a lot different had he and his father as well and his brothers took on that servanthood attitude that Jesus had, where they thought about others as themselves. They loved others as themselves, and they loved each other. Jesus gives us a lot of instructions around that, and it helps us in our relationships with our family, because our family is so important. They're with us. God placed us there with them for a reason. Our needs are important. Your family members' needs are important. And Jesus teaches us to have that servanthood attitude and to humble yourself and think about how your actions and your circumstances have an effect on those around you. So that's an example of just what the Bible has to say about families and how important the family unit is to God. So I encourage you to take time this week to read the book of Genesis chapter 37 and just think about your own siblings, the people in your household, and the effect that your circumstances have on them, and how you can find a way to love them the same way that you love yourselves and make their circumstances and what's going on in their lives just important to you as your own. All right, you guys have a great week. Bye.